Don't put down your compost heap. You're asking for trouble if you start putting stuff like that in there. Bacteria will build up. It won't be any good. You'll attract rodents. Not with the feeding side of things, by adding different ingredients to your compost heap can make the compost into something really special. If you add lots of different organic vegetable and garden waste to your compost heap, the nutrients your compost will contain, which you're going to put back into the soil later, will be much greater and more varied, which is great. If you just add the green waste, for instance, like leaves, grass cuttings, dead flower heads, that kind of thing, to the compost heap, the compost will be super high in nitrogen, but it won't contain much else. So it'll be really vinegary and it'll be nice nitrogen kind of rich, but it won't be any good. So if you've got the runoff from that, that'd be really good nitrogen liquid feed, but it wouldn't be very good as a soil conditioner or mulch or anything like that. It'd be really acidy. By adding woodier materials, so if you've got like sticks, branches, anything like that, pruned materials, paper and cardboard are really good as well. This will balance out the nitrogen. So if you just got the green and then you add the brown to it as well, like the woody material and things, balance out the nitrogen with carbon. This creates a really good base for your compost. So after that, as I say, about adding the different ingredients to it, by saving like fruit peelings, vegetable peelings, things like that, that will add a really nice bit of potassium and phosphorus to the compost. So it kind of balances this out. We've got the nitrogen from the green, we've got the carbon going in there from the woodier materials as well. And then you've got the peelings and stuff from your kitchen waste. They're all adding the potassium and phosphorus. So you've got the big three in there, the top three. And then if you add things like eggshells and wood ash and things like that, they'll add in calcium as well. So you can see how it starts to build up. So the more things you add to your compost heap, the more nutrients it's going to add and develop the range. When you use it later on as a soil conditioner, as a mulch, anything like that, it's going to be like a superfood for your garden, if you like. And once you start mulching down, it starts to break down into the soil. It's going to really help to support the ecosystem in the soil. All those little organisms are going to be sitting there like waiting to chew and process it all and get it done. It's going to be so much in there for them to process and so many nutrients that your plants can take up. You're not going to need to feed them so much. You're not going to need to look after them so much. It's really important. So when it comes to your compost heap, balance is key, obviously with the nitrogen and the carbon, but so is variety. So try and get whatever you peel in the kitchen, whatever waste, organic green waste that you've got in the kitchen, anything like that, even when it's down to letters, packaging, organic packaging, not plastic packaging, that just won't break down, it won't work. But paper packaging, cardboard boxes and things like that, they can go in the compost heap fine. They'll be fine. So that's a really good way of reducing the amount that you send to the bin man, putting them out into your compost heap. Your compost heap will process them quite nicely and it will keep everything balanced. So any kind of organic waste, anything like that, try and avoid if you can. Shouldn't have to say it, but I will. So avoid dairy products, milk, yogurt, things like that. Anything like that, any meat, don't put down your compost heap. You're asking for trouble if you start putting stuff like that in there. Bacteria will build up. It won't be any good. You'll attract rodents. Not good. That can go in the bin. That's fine. But yeah, anything like that, any organic vegetable waste or garden waste, perfect. Put it in the compost heap. Now, one thing I will say though is if you have weeds in your garden that you're putting in your compost heap and they are invasive weeds or they spread by their roots, we all know which weeds they are, they spread by the roots, don't put them in your compost heap. You'll end up with a compost heap full of them and you'll never be able to use that compost. It'll be dreadful. You'll spread them throughout the garden. Not even worth it. So don't add those to your compost heap. You're just asking for trouble. The soil is an important part of your garden. We've spoken about this lots and lots and lots of times. I have whole videos on how important the soil is, which are in my soil playlist I think I've got set up. So yes, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's there for you. We're here for it, so that's fine. So soil is an important part of your garden. You should take the time. You should be investing in it. You should take the time to invest in it. Doesn't mean you need to spend a fortune and take hours to nurture it. You just need to take the time to condition it with some really good quality organic matter. So like homemade compost, if you go down the route of adding all the different mixtures in there with it. So really good homemade compost is great. Well-rotted manure, anything like that, which also help to support the ecosystem within the soil, which all helps to create the support system for your plants, to reduce the work for you, and then it helps to the ecosystem within the soil, the organisms that live in the soil will continuously try and process the organic matter that you put into the soil that you use to condition it, and creating and releasing nutrients throughout the year. So they're going to keep effectively feeding your plants throughout the year. So the better quality the soil, the happier the ecosystem within the soil, the more your plants will get fed without you needing to feed them, saving lots of time and money, which we like.